Hey, everybody, welcome to Love and Reload, the voice of the relocation industry. I am your host, Ben Cross, and I'm so blessed and honored to be here today with Jihan Merlin from Alma. How are you doing today, John?
I'm doing great. How are you doing?
I'm fantastic. It's a Thursday. I'm a week removed from being at Work Global 25 in Salt Lake City. I'm finally well enough. I have my voice back. I'm on my 2 feet standing here. I mean, I'm 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 feeling a lot better than I was a week ago. That's for
Oh,
sure.
that's good. I'm glad.
Oh my gosh, yeah. And how was you were in Salt Lake City, weren't you?
I was, yeah. It was a lot of fun. It was my second WERC, first time with Alma. It's so exciting. It's very big. It's the like morning. I think I was at breakfast like 7 a.m. out until like 11, 12. So like I
Wow.
think most people that I know got like a cold or something
Oh my gosh.
afterwards.
I was down bad, dude. I was down so bad. Every night I was in bed by 7 o'clock at night. I was sleeping
Oh,
13 hours every night. I know. I was like, I want to do over. This can't be my experience. This cannot be my conference experience.
got the parties.
Seriously, hit that like button, get in the comments. What was your Work Global 25 experience like? Were you out there at Work Global 25 or not? What did you think of Salt Lake City, as a host city? What did you think of Salt Lake City as a host city, John?
I thought it was, oh, I love Salt Lake City as a city. I have family in Salt Lake City. I've never been there at that time of the year. We go in the winter, we go to like ski
Go
and
skiing and
yeah,
stuff.
yeah. We like Brighton and Snow Basin and Snowbird's my favorite. But this is different. It was beautiful. The mountain was beautiful. I don't know if you got a chance to go up there. Um,
Girl, I was high enough, okay? Listen, 4,500 feet in the air. I was already getting a little altitude sickness, okay? I didn't need to go anywhere, all
good
right? I don't know
point.
how those people did that ensign hike up there. Yo, shout out to the people that did the hike. I saw some people up there. I was like, no, I'm gonna stay my butt down here, okay? I barely made it to the eighth floor of the hotel. All right. Shoot. You can find me in the lobby. No, did you get up in the mountain? Were you hiking?
Yeah, I did. Well, yeah, I went on my own. One morning, I think I needed to keep the endorphins in my system, and I probably didn't have the energy for it, but I went up to the Columbia, it was like Columbus Trail, something like that, and took some pictures, came back down. It was so
What was
fun.
the elevation up there?
I didn't measure it. It wasn't, honestly, I
I mean,
just,
can you look up
you
the
know,
Columbus Trail and see what the
Columbus.
elevation was?
Yeah, it wasn't. I didn't go that high. I just went straight down the road past the Capitol until I got to like a mountain, and then I just walked
I
for like
just
10
walked up the
minutes.
mountain.
And yeah, I
10
took some
minutes.
pictures. Yeah, it was lovely. I highly recommend. I thought, yeah, Salt Lake City is so beautiful. I think for some people there were like a lot of indirect flights into Salt Lake City. I was very
Okay.
lucky. I had a direct one, um, but beautiful location.
Okay. What's the elevation?
Minimum of 4,700 feet to
Minimum
a
of
maximum of 4,900.
47 to 4,900. Too many hundred for me. God bless. Daisy said, hello, Jahan from Global HQ. I enjoyed seeing you and talking at Work Global in Salt Lake City. Yeah, I was getting to bed at 7 o'clock at night, and then our good buddy Kenny Flornez sends me a text message. I'm not even gonna say what time it was, sends me a text message. Hey, I ran into Daisy. She's wonderful. You might have been in that picture too,
Daisy,
John. I
yeah,
don't
Daisy
know.
came out. Oh, she had the best costume for the Rocket Rodeo.
Yeah. She had her cowboy hat
Great
on. It
shoes.
was
Yeah,
great.
those. Yeah, the shoes.
Look at this. Katie checking in. Hi, John. It was great meeting you in person at work. Yes,
Oh,
get in the comments, y'all. Hit that like button. Let us know what it
love
was
it.
like out there. Diana. Yes, altitude sickness is real, for real, though. Yes, it is, for real. And I was hydrated and everything.
Yeah, I
Anyway,
tried. Dry
yeah.
lips.
What was your most memorable part of the conference?
Most memorable part. Oh, I mean, there were so many things. I learned a lot. I met a lot of people that really, really enjoyed talking with. I think it was when I walked into that rocket party, and there were these humans with disco balls on their head, and I don't think you could see. I think that people there was no place for the eyeballs to be. That was all glitter. I was very impressed, and people were riding like the bull, like the bull.
People riding the bull.
Riding the bull. That was very, and a surprising number of people came up to me and asked if I was going to ride the bull, and I had like a dress that would not work on a bull, so I was like, why would you ask that?
I mean,
it was, everyone was having fun.
Did anybody ride the bull?
Oh, so many.
Anybody we know ride the bull?
Go in the comments.
Hey, get in the comments. If
How
somebody
many
rode the bull.
seconds did you stay on the bull?
Did anybody have a qualifying ride of 8 seconds or more on the mechanical bull? Was Daisy on the bull? Yo, tell me for real. Was Daisy on the bull?
Daisy, I didn't see you on the bull.
Oh, she might have been. I feel like Caroline was on the bull. Was Caroline on the bull? She was probably on the bull. Hit that like button. Get in the comments there. Let us know who was on the bull there. John, this is great. I'm loving this right now. I gotta ask you. So this is your second. Well, I guess we're calling it work now. This is your second WERC event. So how did you get into mobility? What was your journey like? I want to understand your origin story.
My journey into mobility. Well, so I'm an immigration attorney. And I've been practicing immigration law for over a decade, but it wasn't until recently that I started actually attending industry events. I think it's something that my previous firm started to emphasize more, trying to do more business development. But then I had this awesome opportunity to join my previous firm at WERC at work last year. And it was just so much fun. I mean, I identify myself as an introvert, but for whatever reason, I think people in mobility are just so nice. And I think maybe they have to be, right? Because it's very relationship oriented, but I just felt like I was coming home a little bit. Understanding like a lot of people knew each other and I was new to the game. But
did it feel like that way from the very beginning, or did it take you a conference, or like, do you remember that moment where you started feeling like, okay, these are my people?
Yeah, it was a bit of both. So in a way, I used to walk into a room like with everybody's, at the coffee after the conference session and get overwhelmed, but I kind of got my rhythm there. What I do is when I'm in somewhere, I'll go somewhere like in the corner and just like observe for a minute and kind of center myself, and then I'll shoulders back, go in. So I figured that out about myself, but separately, I can't tell you how many times, how many acts of kindness have been done for me in the mobility space. Like just reaffirms my love for the mobility industry. I got, just industry events, the Rocket Party, the Sterling Lexicon had an event. I was so grateful to have an invite to Hildrup. Just wonderful people in the mobility industry, just helping each other. And I feel like I realized this is what we do for each other. And so it's definitely made it fun.
And then, so now you feel like this is your people. Cause that's how I felt. I remember my first conference was in, I want to say 2011, 2012. And it was actually the national conference, which they don't do anymore, but it was in May and it was in San Antonio, and there was the expo and we set up, I was exhibiting. And then afterwards there was the Oakwood party, which was the big party. So before the Rocket Party, there was the corporate housing parties, and the Oakwood party was the big party. And I remember it was May. It must have been a Cinco de Mayo party, because there were sombreros. I was wearing a mustache for some reason. There was tequila tastings.
You're wearing a mustache.
Who needs to taste tequila? But we were tasting the tequilas, and there was a photo booth, and I was like, this is work. Like, this is what we do out here. And they're like, yeah, yo, this is it. Like, this, and just wait till October. It gets even better. I was like, yo, for real, sign me up. And I was like, this is where I want to be. But I also at the same time remember, like, I loved it, but I also felt very out of place. I also felt like everyone there knew each other.
Yeah.
And I didn't really know anybody. And
Yes.
I remember distinctly wanting to change that feeling. And fortunately, flash forward, like I have, but it's been a blessing for real.
Totally. And that's what I was saying about, like, somebody, lets you into their conversation and introduces you to their friends. And, like, it's like you're the new kid in school on the first day. You feel a little nervous, and then some nice kids start talking to you, and it just makes you feel more confident. And that's it. That's how it felt.
It does feel like high school, doesn't it? Because, like, the tables all kind of like, because people like kind of like there's groups here and there's groups here talking, there's groups here talking, there's these little cliques,
And as a supplier, right? Like, I'm very conscientious of the fact that, like, some people think that, you're trying to sell to them sometimes, right? I try not to approach it that way. Just having good relationships with people is a lot more fun than trying to sell them something. But yeah, like, that also made me nervous right in the beginning.
Yeah, for sure. So now tell me about your company now.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm the head of immigration strategy for an immigration law firm called Alma. We are a technology-forward immigration law firm. We're also a venture-backed legal tech company. So I think, unlike a traditional immigration law firm, we have a large team of engineers based in Palo Alto primarily, where our headquarters are, that develop all of our legal tech in-house. So beautiful platforms on the front end, a lot of technology in the back end to make the process faster and more error-proof, and all this great stuff. And it's in a unique position because so I've been in big law for over a decade, and this is my first foray into a high growth technology, immigration law firm, and it's been really cool. So I think my dream for Alma is that we are reimagining the immigration law industry, and, like, it's kind of, there's a lot of things that are broken about it, and we're trying to change that.
Very, very interesting. Yeah, and talking about going from big law to kind of a startup, what is that like culturally?
Oh, it is so interesting. So I think, fortunately, I've been blessed with working with wonderful people in like the big law practice as well. But in this sort of more startup-y culture, people are super passionate about what they do. They're very hungry to make an impact. It does feel high impact. People work hard because they want to be there, and they're building something. And there's just a lot of energy, which I really like.
Yeah. Yeah, it's always interesting. We do a lot of recruitment in the space, and so I'm always interested in cultures and the way organizations work as a large organism made up of all these little people cells inside, and then how it all kind of comes together. We got people checking in. Get in the comments, y'all. Check in. Let us know who you are, where you are, what you're thinking about right now. Gabby Template says, I save my limited extrovert energy for work. What's up, Gabby? Is that a real thing? Can you, like, save energy?
Totally.
And then just like
us
bottle it up and then
us introverts, like, that's what we do. We so like the definition of an introvert is somebody whose social situations deplete their energy. And then extroverts, like, get energy from being with other people. So I'm social, but at the end of the week, I was definitely tired.
But what do you do to restore that energy? Gabby, what do you do, John?
Yeah,
what do you do?
Gabby, what do you do? I spend time with my kids, my family. I go for a jog. I just chill on the couch.
Just let it build back up. Let the
Sleep.
stores.
I sleep. This is like all in an ideal world. Yeah, I do all those things.
Ideally, yeah.
Ideally.
Yeah. Holly checking in. Hello, Ben and John from Omaha. What's up, Holly? How you doing? Holly gave one of the most inspired, moving Ignite session talks in Salt Lake City. It was just absolutely beautiful about grief and dealing with loss and what to say to people when they're going through grief. And we all go through grief in our life. I mean, it's unavoidable, right? But how many of us really know what to say and what to do when someone we know is going through grief? And it was just a beautiful talk, Holly. And thank you so much for sharing your story. I really appreciate that. Caroline Cook, I get energy from other people. So would that make Caroline an extrovert then?
I think so.
You're like, I don't even know these people.
What Caroline's an extrovert.
Katie says, I'm a born extrovert with ADHD, so I'm a lot of energy all the time. Oh my gosh. She goes on to say, Holly's Ignite session had me ugly crying in public.
I heard that from many people.
There was a few of them where I couldn't ugly cry because I had to go up and give my own Ignite session. But I was ugly crying on the inside. I couldn't believe how vulnerable people were being.
Yeah. And Katie, I saw actually Katie come out of that session. And like, it's real. It's real. That was very impactful.
Beautiful. People are also lying in the comments a lot. There's a lot of people are saying they did not ride the bull, but we know you did, Daisy. Caroline also lying, did not ride the bull. We know you rode the bull, Caroline. She did karaoke. Did you do any karaoke, Jihan?
I didn't do karaoke. I you know what? I didn't even know there was karaoke. I was very
You're too busy
I
riding
said,
the bull.
right. Like I'm gonna lie about that too. You know, and there were so many activities. There was like a caricature artist. There was people with hats that they made that with lights on them. Yes. That was incredible. It was one of those moments I was just taking it all in. I didn't know about the karaoke. I wouldn't have done it though. We had a hot happy hour just before that party. Alma did, and it was a K-pop themed happy hour. And I was like, should we do karaoke? Shouldn't we do karaoke? And we're just gonna have real good cocktails.
Real good cocktails. I think K-pop, yeah, you gotta do a little karaoke. My kids have been obsessed with K-pop Demon Hunters.
Same.
This past summer. Oh my gosh, if I hear Soda Pop one more time.
Oh, I'm done with that. The Golden though.
Golden? Yeah.
That gives me a little, it makes me happy.
Gabby says she loves Alma's LinkedIn content. Great thought leadership.
Oh, thanks, Gabby.
You know, I love something that you wrote. I'm going to actually talk about it here in a second. I'm going to put that on pause for 1 second. Emma's saying, incredible session, my favorite of the event. Yes, Emma, it was awesome. Holly says, thanks everyone for the support. It's a tough role in helping others out there going through something similar. Yeah, we're all going through it too. Caroline, Vinny, and I could not stop crying after. Yeah, beautiful. You know, talking about LinkedIn content though, because I feel like I live on LinkedIn. You wrote something after the Dodgers World Series win that I actually really liked, and I don't think I actually liked it in real life, but I actually read it and liked it. So I'm like the worst person in the world. I get on people about this all the time when they read stuff and they don't actually like it.
You didn't click the like button.
I didn't click the like button.
As a human, you liked it, yeah.
Yeah, I'm a terrible person. But no, you wrote something amazing about immigration and the Dodgers. What inspired you to write that?
Yeah, so I just to say what it was. So this was World Series, the finals, the last game. Was it game 6 or 7? Game 7. It went to game 7. And I did not think I was even going to stay up for it because I was still coming down from work. And but I just and I'm a Cubs fan. I was like not even invested in the teams. I was like, but I wanted the underdogs to win, so I was rooting for the honestly, I was rooting for Toronto.
I was rooting for Toronto too.
Yeah, I was rooting. I
What
was
is that
rooting for the
about?
underdogs because I'm a Cubs fan. I got it. we never win.
Yeah, right. And
So
it went into extra innings too.
it was so incredible, and it was yeah. And I would have been going crazy. Like it was just you could not predict which way it was going to go, and then at the end of there was this slugger. Actually, was he even a slugger? Rojas was it?
Yeah.
He hadn't made like a home run in like a month.
Yeah,
but he was hitting terribly for like a month. But he comes up and he hits a solo homer, which ties the game in the 9th inning. And
I want to say it was like 0 for 12 in the World Series or something like that. It was doing terribly.
So like, yeah, Toronto was about to win the game, and then he scored. He made this run, and it tied the game, and they went into overtime, and then this pitcher Yamamoto, who everybody knows is amazing, he closes it out, and he gets like these amazing like strikeouts and just like incredible baseball. And it occurred to me, it's like Yamamoto was born in Japan, Rojas was born in Venezuela. Like these were such incredible talent, and obviously it was the whole team came together to win. But like these were like the MVP was born in Japan, and it just reminded me of how our country is made so much more rich from the global talent that make their home here. And that's what we get to do as relocation professionals. We get to help people make the U.S. their home. And it was very inspiring. So like I had this switch that flipped in my brain of like, wait, I'm actually happy. I'm actually happy that the Dodgers won because I got to see these amazing people just do amazing things. And that's it. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I loved your post too. And I think it talks also about kind of the diversity angle, right? I mean, you have these two Japanese pitchers, right? Because you have Shohei Ohtani and
Right.
Yamamoto,
yeah,
right?
Ohtani, crazy, amazing.
And
highest paid in the league or something.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Ohtani's skill sets are wild because he's equally dominant as a pitcher and as a hitter, which is unheard of. And so you bring this guy over from Japan and Yamamoto from Japan, and I mean everything you just said, right? And you have all these different skill sets that you're able to assemble on one team. It's just like a company, right? And as a recruit, and as a recruiter, I'm thinking about how cool it is. I did a post recently about the NFL trade deadline and how all these players are, just getting plucked from teams, and you're able, just like a sports team, as a company, you're able to build the best possible team by assembling all the best possible players together. And I think that the possibilities are awesome, but immigration actually allows you to do that on a global scale. And it was super cool to see. And you're seeing like they're using translators, like it was so cool.
It's very rewarding. The immigrants get the job done, right?
Yeah, the Hamilton line.
Hamilton
for sure.
line.
Yeah, super cool. Do you think, I mean, where are we now though? I want your opinion. Like, where are we now from well, Evan says, I don't usually watch the World Series, but this one was special. Yeah, I didn't watch any of it. I mean, I was at conferences and stuff, and I tuned in, and I'm like, this is epic.
The tail end, yeah.
Yeah, it was epic for sure. But where are we right now from an immigration standpoint here in the U.S.
as a country? Well, that's like the question of the year. I mean, I think anybody who's doesn't have their head under a rock knows that we're in a really tricky place with immigration, and there's a lot of really sad things that are happening. But at the same time, like the immigration system that we had before was like far from perfect, and the changes that are being made by the new administration are in part because of legitimate concerns that have existed. And then there's also this other side, which is just more of a let's keep it all in the United States. Like and not, we don't need anybody else. And I think that's the part that gets me. I'm like, no, we want Lionel Messi to like play for Miami. Like, we want to have our A game. We want to have the best people here, to do all the best things for all the, the best companies. And so that's where I am. I'm like, I think we're part of what my goal is as an immigration attorney is to be able to make the case to USCIS or whatever government agency that the professionals that are being sponsored enrich our country and should be here. And we do that within the framework of these visa categories, the H's and the O's and whatever. But ultimately, it's a human, it's a human experience. It's about the best, getting the best so we can be the best and all that stuff.
Yeah, Lionel Messi is such a great example, right? So I'm an MLS season ticket holder, or I was here in Dallas, right, for the FC Dallas. And nobody cares about FC Dallas. Like, let's be honest, right? We got the Dallas Cowboys, we got the Dallas Mavericks, we got Dallas Stars, we got a lot of sports teams here in Dallas. FC Dallas is probably the 5th or 6th most popular sports team, and it's not even close, right? And then Lionel Messi comes to MLS. And Lionel Messi is probably the greatest soccer player in the world. And he comes to Inter Miami. And now the one game that he comes to Dallas, my ticket is $43 face value. I sell that ticket for $850.
Wow.
And that's the kind of multiplier of value that top 1% talent, top 1% of 1% talent, the kind of multiplier of value that they add when you add them to that ecosystem, when you add them to that company.
It's a great metaphor.
Right? You know what I mean? It's like, imagine Google without, Sergey Brin, right? Imagine Tesla without Elon Musk, right? Imagine these companies without that one or two inventors or that one or two, people that are just like, take it from here to like way up here, and that's what these folks are doing. And do you want them doing it here, or do you want them doing it over there? I mean, imagine these people never came here, and my sleepy soccer team was always just a sleepy soccer team that nobody ever cared about, because that's what U.S. companies are going to be without foreign talent.
It's so interesting, and I think one of the themes that came up at work was talent strategy. And I'm not on the business side, but one thing I heard over and over was, hey, we're looking at our sponsorship policies and how many students we're going to sponsor from F1s. In some cases, companies are withdrawing the offers that they're making to F1 students because, to be frank, they are higher risk as hires. They might not get selected in the lottery. They might have, if once they're here, it might be hard to sponsor them, to keep them here, because it's really hard to get them through like a perm case and the I-140. And if, for those familiar with immigration, you have to complete certain steps to be able to remain permanently in the US. And those steps have gotten a lot harder. And so it's for very legitimate business reasons. A lot of companies, large and small, are reconsidering their talent pipeline from students, and I think it makes total sense. And on the other side, I think it's kind of sad for our our talent, our country, in some ways, that we're going to miss out on talent that we don't even know what they're capable of. And I think we're gonna have to see how that plays out long term.
Yeah, I mean, it will really change the trajectory of the United States for generations. When you think about the development, I mean, we're in an AI arms race right now, much the way we were, with .coms and development, 20 years ago. We're in a new development, race right now, and we can't afford to not have the best and brightest sitting here, on our shores, developing, because the jobs will just leave to go there. There was a report that came out today, actually. The Challenger report came out today, and I think it said 158,000 jobs were lost this month in October. So, the jobs report comes out every month, right? And this is how many jobs were added, right? And I think this month it was 24,000. And 24,000 is a pretty anemic number compared to the 150,000 that are usually, added in prior years around this time, right? It was 24,000. It was slightly better than people had expected, but it was not a very big number. But then the Challenger report came out and talked about 158,000 were lost this month, and 450,000 layoffs were announced, with tech sector being the number one sector, followed by warehousing. And then we know that when tech sector jobs are laid off, we also know the impact that has to immigration, because as we saw a couple of years ago with mass layoffs, because now they're not visa eligible, right? They're not allowed to go out and issue visas.
Well,
is that true?
so
or false?
there's definitely an impact. So it becomes a lot harder to file perm applications.
Okay.
So you can still, legal, H-1Bs, et cetera. But if a company files a perm application, just the first step in the permanent residency process, it's a big one. They would need to notify and consider every single laid off U.S. worker in that area, in that occupation. So most companies just wait 6 months before they try to file any more perms. But when you have these rolling layoffs, you have very large employers that are suddenly on perm freezes for 2 years because of layoffs, and that impacts people, and they got to go back to their country. Yeah.
If an employer does layoffs, are they able to do perm visa applications?
They can reach a certain milestone in it, but they can't actually file it.
Okay.
So they can do recruitment. Well, actually, that's another thing. They can do certain things with the perm, but actually filing them is a problem. So yeah, it definitely puts things on hold. Yeah.
Yeah. We got a question here. Gabby says, do you see more people leveraging other options for high talent, O's and NIWs?
100%, 150%. Because first you've got the H-1Bs and the uncertainty there. And are we going to be able to, what's the lottery going to look like next year? There's this also, in addition to the $100,000 thing, there's this new weighted selection rule that might go into effect for next year's lottery. And how is that going to impact whether, the likelihood of selection could go up, could go down?
Can you explain the weighted selection rule?
Yeah. So H-1B is the most common visa type. There is a lottery. Most employers sponsoring H-1Bs need to go through a lottery. Some of them are exempt. Most of them have to go through the lottery. There's 65,000 H-1B slots for bachelor degree holders, and then an additional 20,000 for U.S. Masters holders. So if you have a U.S. Masters, you essentially get 2 bites at the apple. So they run the lottery, and that's it. It used to be a random lottery process. If you had a U.S. Masters, you get to get the 2 bites, but they're changing it, and now you get weights depending on the wage level for the position. So if it's a level 1 wage, which is entry level roles typically, but also it's like the actual wage that they're earning, you get one slot in the lottery. What is it called? Yeah, you get one entry. If you have level 2, you get 2 entries, 3 entries, and level 4, which is the highest, is experienced workers, have the highest prevailing wage, you get 4 entries. And so with that change comes a lot of uncertainty around, okay, well, are my entry level roles now not going to get selected, because now the chances are much lower compared to somebody who has a higher prevailing wage, has a higher salary, maybe more experience, whatever they're slotted as. And this rule is still in the notice and comment period, I believe. It could have closed by now, but once it goes into effect, things are going to change. There's going to be winners and losers. There's going to be people in areas of the country where you don't need to make as much money to be a level 4, for instance. But if you live in New York City or San Francisco, good luck making a level 4 wage for a software engineer. You have to make $200,000. So We'll see. But short answer, yes, there's a lot more demand for O1s, a lot more demand for NIWs and EB1As also. And the reason people are looking at NIWs and EB1As is because with these layoffs, perm programs are on hold, but people still need to get an I-140. People can self-sponsor NIWs and EB1As.
Okay. All right. It cut out just for 1 second there. So
did I lose you?
Yeah. Now I'm here. Can you hear? Can you see me?
Okay. I can hear you. Okay. Sounds good. You're good? We're good.
Yeah.
But like
now
NIW allows for self-sponsorship and yeah. That's
well,
it.
no, I was gonna ask though, you mentioned about level 4 changing based on where in the country you are. Do you see maybe more hiring done like in lower cost of living areas, middle America, let's just say, where maybe you can achieve those level 4s? Or what are your thoughts there? I mean, do you see any migratory changes based on that?
I think that there's definitely an incentive to hire people in areas where the prevailing wages may be lower. To some extent, I think that has been the case for a long time because you are required to pay the prevailing wage for that occupation. So if you sponsor somebody in San Francisco, you've always needed to pay a level 1, maybe software engineer, software developer wage level, which is high, which is still pretty high. I don't have the exact number. So there's always been people have always been looking at what the prevailing wages are, but now it's just whether there's going to be more gamesmanship, possibly. I think people are kind of waiting to see how the first lottery goes and wouldn't be surprised.
Do you see volumes going to other countries and, whether it be Canada or?
That's something that I actually did hear from multiple mobility professionals and some at very large companies. If you have a global company, think you have more options. Like you can just hire people more in other countries that are more friendly towards immigration. And there's a lot of countries in Europe that are friendlier, and Canada might be more friendly. So I think nearshoring and offshoring is definitely going to be something we see more of.
What was, we all heard in the news the $100,000 H-1B announcement. How is that kind of shaken out, and what's the impact of that going to be, in your opinion?
Oh, that is so interesting. I would be interested to hear from people in the comments where they were when that rolled out.
Doesn't everyone know? It's like
it was like when like the Kennedy was shot or something. It's like, where were you? I was on vacation with my family in Acadia National Park in Maine with very little service. But I did have service, and I had to go to Bar Harbor and just like do work while my family was in the park, and I was so sad. But to talk about the actual thing that happened, on Friday, September 19th in the afternoon, there was a proclamation released. First, there was a press conference, but then there was a proclamation that stated that, and I don't have it in front of me, individuals who were outside of the U.S. Or on an H-1B or H-1B petitions that were filed on or after September 21st, that was the Sunday, would be subject to a $100,000 fee. So the first announcement sounded very, very open-ended. And very quickly, a lot of companies put out alerts saying, if you are on an H-1B and outside of the country, please get back in the country before Sunday. Do everything you can. And there was a lot of I would say hysteria around it, but it was valid because
the thought
being
that if they didn't, they would have to pay $100,000 to come back in.
To be able to come back in, to be able to come back in if they had an H-1, even if they had an H-1B and they were outside the country. So that was the belief when it was announced, because the wording was very open-ended. Then on Saturday, afternoon, I think there was a series of, actually, I believe all three agencies released guidance: USCIS, CBP, Department of State. And there was something on Twitter from the press secretary.
Twitter's
Twitter,
usually
X.
the most reliable place to
Yes,
find
it
it these days.
said, yeah, fake news. This is just for people. If you have a valid visa stamp, it doesn't apply to you. This does not apply to people who have a valid H-1B visa stamp, and it doesn't apply to H-1B renewals. But aside from that, it was still pretty open-ended. But the belief at the time was that this might be just for H-1B consular petitions, but it was a little unclear. Does it apply to amendments? Does it apply to changes of employer, like transfer petitions, like somebody changing jobs from one company to another? The guidance was unclear. But, people still had to change jobs and petitions had to be filed. So pretty soon we had some test cases. And so starting on Monday, when things started to be filed, we got to see whether USCIS was actually accepting them. And we're like, out in the, I think one of the posts I made was early signals on what, how H-1B approvals post-proclamation. And we were seeing that change of employer petitions were being approved, amendments were being approved. And also, by the way, there wasn't any mechanism for paying this $100,000. So how do people file a consular petition? I don't know if there's no method of paying. But more recently, within the last 2 weeks, I don't have the exact date, there was more specific guidance released. And also USCIS created a mechanism for paying the fee. And right now, it appears to apply to new consular petitions for individuals that do not have a valid visa stamp. So,
have you heard of anyone paying this fee?
I have not spoken to a company that has actually paid the fee, but I've seen companies announce that they are paying fees. I've also seen companies announce that they're not sponsoring H-1Bs at all anymore. So it's definitely gone both ways. But there was somewhere I was going with this. We have seen our fees for consular petitions. So we do know that USCIS is now asking for the fee. So if a consular petition is filed, and that is a petition for somebody who is physically outside of the US on the date of filing, or maybe it's filed as an extension or a change of status or an amendment, but the person isn't eligible for that change of status. Maybe there was something in their background, maybe a status violation or something they would need to travel and apply for visa stamping. Well, now they might not need to be subject to the fee too. So a lot of there's still a lot of unanswered questions, but it's more narrow than people thought initially, but still very, very impactful to a lot of programs. Also, like, companies are going to have to be very, very clear with their employees and attorneys will as well about not traveling when their petition is filed, about making sure that they're abiding by the terms of their visas and creating no opportunity for the government to say you're not eligible for an extension or you're not eligible for a change of status, and therefore you're subject to the fee, because there's really no room. There's very little room for error now.
Wow, lot there. People are weighing in here. Gabby says, great question. I was doing a puzzle with my kiddos when the fee was announced. Yep. Daisy said, Ben, we were driving back from Austin, global business conference firm. You nearly drove off the road. Kidding. Well, it's funny. I was talking to somebody in the business and they're like, oh, like, blah, blah. Oh, you see that H-1B thing that was just announced? I'm like, whatever, yeah, okay, sure. Next, on to the next. And I didn't know,
You're like, immigration's boring. I don't care.
Well, I mean, no, but I mean, I didn't think it was that serious. I don't know, I don't know. At that cost, Jack saying at that cost, we'll most likely see a significant dip in H-1Bs. Do you think we're going to hit the quota for H-1Bs?
Do I think we're going to hit the quota? We, the quota has been hit every year for as long as I can remember. I mean, there was a time in the distant past where there was maybe less demand for H-1Bs, but the overall selection rate over the past 5-10 years has hovered around 30 to 40% tops. So I think we will see. So much has changed. So many companies are saying, oh, we don't want to do H-1Bs, or maybe we do. I think we're going to hit the quota, but there's a lot of uncertainty. So I'm going to be very interested to see how things play out. I know, without naming company names, one of the country's top 10 employers of top 10 H-1B sponsors announced that they are no longer sponsoring H-1Bs in the lottery. So that's going to be it's going to be really interesting to see how that plays out.
And you pay the fee, correct me if I'm wrong, but you pay the fee when you file, whether you get awarded it or not, whether you're selected or not, right?
No, that's not true.
No,
so you pay a registration fee.
Okay.
I think it's in the 200s range. But then, yes, if selected, you pay the larger.
So you're not paying the
government fee.
$100K just to apply. You're paying it only if you're selected.
If you're selected.
Okay,
Right.
got
So
it.
that's a good thing. But
that was another thing that came out early on. It sounded like it was just to apply, and then anyway, Jack says, I don't think we will hit it in 2026 if the cost is $100,000. Yeah, they're looking for ways to raise money here to offset the tax cuts, lack of revenue. Daisy says, if you could advise RMCs or mobility teams on one area to improve the partnership with immigration providers. Hold on, Daisy. I want to get to that question in 1 second. Nan Park says it's very little cost to register for the cap. No $100K fee needed until it's picked. With that logic, we might still see a high cap season. Huh.
Yeah, I think it's hard. It's hard to know. There's a lot. I think that there are a lot of disincentives for H-1B sponsorship now that didn't exist maybe last year. I mean, just there's an abundance of individuals looking for jobs, U.S. workers that are looking for tech jobs. Maybe there's less of a need for sponsorship for certain positions. Not all, but people are still going to want to retain their top talent. And if those top talent are on F1 visas, there's not a lot of options for them typically, unless they somehow are amazing and qualify for an O1 extraordinary ability visa. The H-1B is really their pathway. So if you have somebody on an F1 and you really like them, like that's the next step. So I think that's not going to change.
Holly's got a question. She says, how are corporations going to realistically budget for this?
That is such a great question. I think part of it is it's all about data. So you audit your immigration population, determine what your H-1B cap registration list would be. So individuals on different visas. Fortunately, it appears that changes of status, even for H-1B cap, are not subject to the $100,000 fee. So that means that if somebody's on an F1 STEM or F1 OPT or STEM and they're selected in the cap, they can very likely switch to an H-1B, change status, and not be subject to that $100,000 fee. However, if you have employees abroad, or if they are not eligible for whatever reason to change status, that's going to be more of an issue. So, and then there's the question of, is it higher risk to sponsor H-1B employees in general because of various factors that are impacting their ability to remain in the country long term? And so there's a lot of moving parts. But to answer, that was a very long way to answer a very short question. But realistically budgeting for it, I think it starts with looking at the data, doing an audit, and see who is actually going to be impacted, and then making some really difficult decisions around who's going to be sponsored and who's not. And to the extent possible, like having those conversations early is going to be, it's going to help the employees, understand, make plans for themselves, and the business too.
Wow. Lot to think about there. Daisy, going back to your question here. Oh gosh, we got Rachel here. Daisy, I want to put you on hold again. Rachel, most of our population is in the US, so the impact will not be as bad as it was looking initially. If they are already here and filing as a change of status, they are not subject to the fee.
Right. And that is a lot of H-1B petitions. So historically, we still saw a high number of H-1B consular filings for people in the US. And the reason that was the case was that a lot of H-1B cap changes, a lot of H-1B cap petitions were for people in the US on an F1 or an L1 visa. But the L1s didn't want to activate their H-1B automatically because their spouses could work on an L2, and H-4 spouses can't work, incident to status at least. So they would wait until they were about to max out on their L. Or F1s, they wanted to use up their STEM time before they started running the clock on the H-1B. So they would get a consular back pocket approval and then activate it later. Now companies are not going to be able to offer that option to their employees. It's going to have to be a change of status. But the good news is, like, those are the majority of the petitions that are filed were people who are in the US in another status. Great question. Yeah, great observation.
Rachel's on it. Daisy, finally, if you could advise RMCs or mobility teams on one area to improve their partnership with immigration providers, what would it be?
Oh my gosh, that is such a good question. RMCs or mobility teams. So I think one of the most important things is to have as many integrations as possible between the data, to be sharing information in a more seamless and streamlined way. I think there are there's so many points where there's churn or confusion because both parties don't have all of the information. And like, as an immigration provider, I might not know what's going to happen in terms of their relocation package and what they're up against in terms of taxes and all the other implications. And so it would be to the immigration provider's advantage to have that information, but also on the other side, all the pieces should be working together in unison with all the data. And so that's one of the things that excites me about Alma, is that our data, it's very talk to your data. We have a feature to talk to your data, or we have integrations with everything. It's all built in house. So I think it's going to be more important than ever to communicate with data.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Diana says, can you speak to what will make a foreign national ineligible for change of status and therefore subject to consular notification and the fee, so that employers can be aware and advise foreign nationals?
That is such a great question. It could be so many different things, but probably the most common thing that happens is it's so dumb. People leave the country after their change of status is filed, and that will automatically convert the petition to a consular petition. So like, if you leave the country, if you depart the US after your change of status is filed, or if you are outside of the US at the time your extension, amendment, change of status, any of those are filed, it will be approved as consular. So in the context of any H-1B petition, if you are physically outside of the US on the date the petition is filed through the time that is received by USCIS, it's going to be consular. That's the mistake that people make. And then separately, for changes of status, if you travel at all before the petition is approved, it's going to be consular. So I think that's a place it's quite avoidable if everyone's working in unison and communicating. And then there's the things that are a little bit less common, but still happen. If, for instance, somebody's I-94, so this is the controlling document for their status. If somebody's comes in and they didn't check their I-94 record and it was truncated to their passport expiration date, they didn't see it, now they're a month out of status, we can file something called a non-protunc extension trying to say, well, please go back and pretend that we're filing this a month ago and approve it. But they might just approve it as a consular petition, and then the person is going to have to travel. So if that happens, if a person has an I-94 that's shortened due to a passport expiration date and falls out of status, any kind of being out of status in all, it's going to be consular, and USCIS is going to RFE it, and they're going to ask for the fee.
Wow. All right. So don't travel. Don't travel. Now, you mentioned travel, though. You mentioned obviously leaving the country, but you said that doesn't include domestic travel, though, does it?
It doesn't include domestic travel.
Okay. I thought I heard don't travel at all, but you implied.
Thank you for, yes, I apologize.
Okay.
Yes, international travel. For immigration purposes, the only thing that's relevant is international travel.
Not going to get stopped at PSA or anything. All right.
And even like Puerto Rico is considered U.S. travel, just FYI. So definitely always talk to your attorneys about travel, whether it's, if you're going anywhere that's may or may not be international, like cruises can be international. Just be aware.
All right. Okay. Thank you, Rachel. Yes, I painted this. I painted this over here.
Wow.
Appreciate you, Rachel.
I got
my Deep Ellum poster over here. I'm in party mode over here. I've got a birthday coming up, so I'm vibing over here. I got my Deep Ellum poster.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of what I'm gonna do for my party. Maybe
Happy
I'll do
birthday.
Thank you. Maybe I'll do a party where I invite a bunch of people somewhere.
It's a great idea.
Right? Do you throw your own birthday party, or does someone throw it for you?
Oh, I haven't had a birthday party thrown for me in a while. I prefer doing other things. No, I prefer I had my 40th last year, and we went to Hawaii. Yeah, we went to Hawaii. That was
a
my
birthday party. Meanwhile, how'd you end up in Hawaii?
There were some cheap flights, and I just grabbed them.
All right.
There were some cheap flights for various reasons. So nice. we took it. Yeah. Nice. Yeah. Nice. But my husband, he's not listening. He's turning 40, and I am going to have a surprise party for him.
What are you thinking? What are you getting good ideas for me? What are you thinking?
He really likes jam bands. So I'm thinking I could find some kind of
gonna jam it out.
Yeah, either hire a band or go somewhere that's a band. And I think I need to make it a month or two before his actual birthday, because he gets a little grumpy if he thinks people don't remember him. So I need to get on top of it.
Why are guys such big babies about everything? I'm like that too. My wife.
We just want to be loved.
We do. Let's see here. People are getting in the comments here. Somebody says, I always throw my own party, and it's always a great time. I had my 40th in September and took over a rooftop bar in DC.
Oh, I love that. Yeah, if you have ideas, let me know in the comments.
I think I'm gonna I think I should do a party next Thursday and just tell everybody in Dallas to just show up. Hey, here's where it is. Come through. Right?
Yeah, do a shout out.
I'll put it on LinkedIn. And if people can make it, they can make it. All right, that's what we'll do. All right, hey, you know what? This has been a lot of fun. Jihan, you ready to have some real fun, though?
Sure.
Want to play a game with me?
Okay.
All right, let's go. We're going to play our game, Overrated, Underrated. Do you know how to play the game?
A little.
It seems intuitive, right?
Yes.
Right?
Yeah. I'll just say one of those things.
All right. You just say one of those things. I'm going to give you a topic, and then you tell me if it is either overrated or underrated, and I'll tell you if you're right. Let's go. All right. First one up. Overrated, underrated. Treating mobility as hospitality plus emotional support.
Treating mobility as hospitality plus emotional support. Underrated.
I will accept that. Yes. Okay. All right.
Because mobility, we're underrated, right? In terms of the support that I don't know.
I don't know either. Yeah, it's late. It's late, right? Yeah. 1 point. 1 point for John. 1 point. Okay. Next one up. Let's see if we can get one that's a little more easy to understand. When someone says, hey, you'll hear from us when we hear something.
Yeah, that's bad. That's bad. That's overrated.
Overrated, huh? Is that is that like no news is good news? Is that a cousin to no news is good news?
Yeah, well, I think that's like it. I think that's like we're not going to give you any proactive updates. We'll let you know when there's been movement on your case. That's how I read that.
Yeah.
But people
Is
want to
this
know even when there's a no update. It's like, hey, your perm's been pending for a year. FYI, we haven't
oh
forgotten about
thanks.
you.
Didn't know that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and this is like pretty much the state of updates in the immigration field, isn't it? This is
Yeah. People want to have updates even for things that are outside of their control. So just keep touch as many touch points as you can. People want to feel like they're taken care of.
yeah. I think I agree. This is overrated. I can understand why we fall into this paradigm, but at the same time, to your point, people will think that they get forgotten about, and then they'll go on to Reddit and they'll start just Googling things, and it's bad news.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think this is a place where technology can really help. It's like if they just want to know the status of their case, there's so many different ways that we can do that for them easily. We can send them automated like blasts with their case status and what the current processing times are. Boom. We could do that for 1,000 cases in a second now. So it's so easy to provide those touch points if you have the technology behind it.
All right, let's go. Next one up. Overrated, underrated, old school portals that look like 2004 SharePoint.
Overrated.
Anybody
Easy one.
in particular you're referencing here?
Oh, I don't know. I love all the immigration law firms. They're all friends.
You know who you are out there.
You know
who you are.
You know who you are. It's fine. It's great attorneys.
If you designed your portal when I was a junior in college, you might want to dust that thing off a little bit, okay? Yeah, overrated. Overrated indeed. All right, let's go. Overrated, underrated. The Dodgers.
Oh man, the Dodgers. They're just right. I think I'm very impressed with them, but I don't think you could say that they're underrated.
Properly rated is not an option.
Oh, I gotta
told me
say
you
it.
knew how to play the game. Overrated or underrated? The most expensive team in baseball, $500 million.
How underrated? They won the World Series. How can you say they're overrated? They won the whole thing.
The Dodgers are underrated. World Series champs.
That was an impossible question.
Most expensive team in baseball, underrated. You've heard it here first. Oh man, false. The Dodgers are overrated. Overpaid and overrated. Oh my gosh.
The results speak for themselves.
Yeah, there you go.
Love it.
All right, next one up. Last one. Overrated, underrated. Tiny hotel shampoo bottles.
Oh, so overrated.
Why?
Because, well, two reasons. Number one, for me, like, look how much hair. That's not enough. That is not enough. I like the ones that are on the wall.
How many of those do you go? What is that? 1 day's shampoo? 2 days shampoo?
My own shampoo. It's just not enough. But some hotels have it on the wall, and they just get as many pumps as you need. And it's better for the environment.
Yeah, I don't know. They're I don't use. I just what I use. If I'm lucky, I get 1 bar of Dove soap and I bring it with me. And I do. I use the hand soap on my hair. I do.
That's so funny. That's actually a playbook for travel. There's like shampoo bars. And people,
is it?
Yeah, it travels well.
You know what I hate? I hate when they give you the shampoo, the conditioner, and the what is it? The body gel or something?
Body lotion?
Body wash. Oh, I hate the body wash. I hate body wash. I'm such a bar soap guy. I am a bar soap guy.
But it's so little. What they give you, how do you?
Oh, you know what they do now too? They drill out the holes. They drill holes in the middle of it. And so because you never get to the middle of the bar.
Oh, that's so funny. And so it collapses on you in the middle.
To preserve it, they take the soap out and they reuse it to stretch the bars a little bit. Yeah. Hey, you know what? We're gonna give you a bonus one here. I just got a news flash that said Elon Musk just got approved for a $1 trillion pay package. Overrated or underrated?
Overrated. So overrated.
Man.
Nobody needs $1 trillion in pay. Like,
Well, no, but in fairness, this comes with some caveats, okay? He has to sell 1 million humanoid robots to get this. So don't worry. What could go wrong?
that's terrifying.
Isn't it? Guys, don't worry. He's slightly incentivized to create
To
Terminator
replace
4.
everyone. Oh,
What's
geez.
that?
When I went to the Tesla shop.
Uh-huh. They had the robot. Meanwhile, my producer Sammy just got a Tesla, and the feature which allows it to come pick her up in the front, it tried to go get on the highway without her. So, what could go wrong? $1 trillion pay
No
package.
comment.
Overrated. Oh my gosh, this is too fun, huh? Good times.
Mm.
Oh man, Jihan Merlin at Alma. This has been so much fun talking to you today. Thank you so much for being on the
Likewise.
show. Do you want to leave us with a final thought before we sign off today?
I don't know. I think all the thoughts are just whoop,
They're all
out of my
gone.
head. They're all gone. But it's been so lovely to talk to you, and I hope that the next work we get to meet in person and party.
Instead of just me sitting at home and getting selfies of you and Daisy and Ken Flornez on my phone at whatever time that
And feeling
was.
bad about it.
Yeah, and everyone riding the bull without me. All right, everybody. Thanks so much for tuning in. We wouldn't have a show without you. I really appreciate you out there. And Jihan, thank you so much. I can't wait to meet you in person.
Likewise.
Take care, everybody.